Hey there, everybody. This is Adam Zundel for CollegeSoccerNews.com. So glad to be joined by the head coach at the University of Maryland, Sasho Cirovski. Coach, thanks for taking some time with us today. We got a lot to get to, but the first thing that we would like to talk about is this dual semester proposal, and I know you've been one of the ones leading the charge. First of all, I know a lot of people have heard about it, but briefly kind of explain the proposal.
Yeah, it's essentially, the right time for us to look at transforming the college game. There's been a lot of talk recently with the transformational changes within the NCAA, with an emphasis on student athlete welfare. And when you look at student athlete welfare and you look at the college soccer season, you say here's an opportunity for some real change. College soccer season has been following, a high school model of an athletic calendar that was been here since the 50s and 60s and so forth, when there was a lot of players playing two or three sports and maybe the demands of the game weren't as well known. And we just kind of been living in this world. It's not a new concept, Adam. A lot of my predecessors have been trying to make some real change to for the benefit of the student athlete, for the benefit of the game, and it's always fallen on deaf ears. But this time, we really feel we have the support of all Division I coaches, and we believe we have the support of the student athletes as we educate them on the details of the proposal. But we really feel good that we're going to get this passed because it's the right thing to do. If you look at college soccer right now, it's ridiculous. It's unfair to the student athlete to ask them to play 20 games in a 12-week period. We're averaging a game every 3 days for 8, 10 weeks in a row. The beauty is this summer, the World Cup showed everybody, university presidents, athletic directors, people that watched, and you could see that if a player, could run up to 7 miles in a game, and nowhere in the world do players play within 36 hours. And yet, if you look at the biggest games in the college soccer world, the conference championships, the national championships, we're playing within 36 hours. I mean, it's almost criminal to ask players to perform at a high level. So then, therefore, it's hard to grow the game. Having said that, we've also have the national championships at a time in mid-December. We're the only outdoor sport that does this. And I've played in a lot of those, but we even asking fans to come watch a game, in freezing conditions, that's unfair to the fans. So you look at this and you say, look, this is common sense. This makes sense. Right now, we have 25 games over 132 days, and we play over 20 weeks. This proposal is just simple common sense. Instead of missing 9 days or 10 days of school in the fall, we split that over 2 semesters. So the kids miss less school. They have longer recovery periods. The game starts to look better. The experience of the student athlete looks better. Coaches have an opportunity to teach and engage the proper periodization of preparing a team on a physical, on an emotional level to prepare on a tactical level. Makes sense. The game starts to look better. The experience of student athlete looks better. And by the way, our championships can become something significant. Right now, players that get to a national championship, it's a downer. Rather than being a highlight of the year, you're sitting there wondering, why are we getting less people than we get in the regular season? Why are we playing on a frozen field trying to see if the game's going to be played? It just doesn't make sense. And I believe we're going to make this happen.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the actual legislative process to get this done. So what has happened so far, and then what do you need to happen for this to actually come to fruition?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and one difficult to answer, because right now, as the NCAA is sort of changing the way that they're going to govern themselves in the legislative process, it's a little bit open-ended, and we're still trying to find that out. The good thing is we're in a very good position to submit a proposal. We're not sure when we can actually submit a proposal. We're not sure if it's going to be later this fall or has to wait till January. We're still waiting on the new governance process. We know that there's going to be a 38-member general council that will make decisions, but we also know that there's going to be some smaller subcommittees, and we're still trying to figure out how we get this. Is it going to have to come from one conference? Can it come from the coaching body? We're trying to figure out some things, but we are on top of everything. We're on the front foot. We've had great communication with the highest levels of the NCAA. We've had tremendous leadership from Oliver Luck the athletic director at West Virginia, Rob Kehoe, our programs director, have done a magnificent job. But we've also have great allies around the country. Kevin Payne has been a great help in this process, connecting the pieces with U.S. Soccer and Major League Soccer. We have virtually every coach is involved in some capacity with us. We're on top of this, and we're getting instruction at the highest levels of the NCAA, the timing of how we can submit this. So we'll be ready when we know that.
It seems like you've got a lot of the things aligned and answering a lot of questions. What the presidents would be concerned about class time. You've kind of addressed that. You've obviously talked about the competitive benefits. I'm curious, is there anything that you would lose? You listed the litany of things, of the positives, and there are a lot. Is there anything that you would lose by going to the 2 semesters?
Yeah, I think there's some issues and some concerns. The start of the spring semester in terms of the weather issues, sharing of athletic facilities in the spring with track or lacrosse, some of these things. Do we lose anything? I think the toughest thing is going to be just the idea of change. I think we are addressing issues with Major League Soccer in terms of their draft and the homegrown stuff in terms of hoping that players do not leave midway through the year. I think keeping fans engaged over a 9-month season could be a little bit of a challenge. I think you'll see, a tremendous start with fan support at the beginning. It'll dwindle as the weather gets colder, but then it'll be back on the rise as we get into the spring. Better weather and the meaningful games really kick in. So, I look at this. I'm an optimistic guy. I don't see a lot of losses. I've been doing this for over 30 years as a player, assistant coach, head coach. I've been involved in this, and I just haven't seen the growth of the game. I haven't seen the experience of student athletes really ever be maximized. And I really don't see a lot of negatives in this. I think it gives us an opportunity to really make a big change, not only for the next 2 or 3 or 4 years, but for the next 50, 100 years, and give college soccer an opportunity to become a very significant part of the NCAA, the communities, and for the student athletes and their experiences.
Well, and I think the point that I'd like to make and probably have you reiterate is that obviously you're a soccer guy, but you're a college soccer guy. And the way that the game is going now, the college soccer game is going now, you could have people 18 years old deciding either to go pro or whatever, and it could hurt the game. So what you're proposing, I believe, is for the benefit of the college soccer game and American soccer in general.
Yeah, this is for the benefit of the student athletes that want to go to college to pursue the 2 things that they love, okay, which is an academic education and the sport that they have grown up and they love. This is not designed to keep kids from going pro. Okay, people will make a decision to go pro before they go to college. That may or may not change, but that's not the idea here. The idea here is that the young men and hopefully women eventually that adopt this proposal, when they go to college, their experience when they're in college is going to get maximized. It's frustrating that a lot of players now understand the beauty and the difficulty of the game of soccer. And right now, it's so competitive, and they love the game. The student athletes that come to university now are playing 8, 9 months anyways. They understand that you must play soccer 5, 6 days a week, and you must get plenty of touches on the ball. It's a very easy game to play, but an extremely difficult game to play well. If you talk to student athletes, they'd rather have a more balance in their life. They'd rather miss 4 classes in the fall, 4 in the spring, versus 8 or 9 in the fall and 0 in the spring. They come here because they want to be educated by the coaches. They want to be around the coaches. We're not abusive coaches. We're not here for our own benefit. We're teachers. We believe that we can help make the experience better. We can help grow the game. And the reality is, college soccer hasn't grown in the last 20 years. It's been good, but it can be great. And the championships are set up to fail. And that's unfair. When you talk about student athlete experience and your national championships are set up to fail, that's not good for anybody. It's not good for the student athlete, for the institution, for the NCAA, for the fans. So this is a win-win proposition. It's good for the student athletes. It's good for the universities. It's good for the NCAA, and it's good for soccer. It's the biggest no-brainer of all time.
Certainly, they've done a good job putting you on the front lines there to to sell it. Let's talk. Okay, thank you for that. Let's talk about the 2014 Terrapins. It's a new league and everything. I kind of want to go into that. You said how long you've been doing it. Is there some kind of freshness going into the Big Ten this year?
It is, selfishly, going into new environments and a new a great new conference, and I'll talk about that in a second. It's exciting. It's like getting a new job but staying at the place you love, and it's exciting. I have a lot of respect for the Big Ten. We came off a great year last year. We returned a good squad. We also know the Big Ten has great teams. If you look at the history of the Big Ten, with us coming in there now, we lead all conferences with national championships. With Indiana having 8, us having 3, Michigan State 2, and Wisconsin 1. That's 14 national championships in the last 30 years. But beyond that, if you look at the RPI of the Big Ten, it's the highest RPI on average of all the teams from last year. So some people don't know that, but certainly we're excited about the Big Ten. My brother went to Michigan State. I grew up in the Midwest, so it's kind of a fun thing for me. Our players are excited. I think they have a lot of respect for the opposition we're going to have, and I think it's going to be a great year.
Talk about some of the key pieces coming back. You said you have a good returning squad coming back. Obviously, they lose Patrick Mullins, who is special in a lot of different ways. But you have Dan Metzger and Zach Steffen in goal. So talk about some of those pieces coming back.
Yeah, at the beginning of last year, we had a very young back line. We had a freshman goalkeeper. I think I aged quite a bit in the first couple of weeks of the season. This year we have a very good goalkeepers, of a strong back line, strong midfield. Where we have a lot of newness and freshness and some questions is up front in the attack. But we have a lot of competition up there. We think we're going to find ways to score goals. I think our midfield should be as good as any midfield in the nation. Zach Steffen obviously is a great goalkeeper. Our back line, Chris Odoye-Adsum this summer had a good run with the U20 national team. Sully Donke has played with the U20 national team quite a bit. Our left back, Mike Ambrose, has been a youth national team player and a staple of our team. Jeremy Raley on the right side has been was a terrific right back for us last year. That's a group that's going to be, I think, a very good back line. Alex Cronali is playing at a very high level right now, and Dakota Edwards is coming off an injury. So we have more depth in the back than we've ever had. Our midfield is, I think, a strength of our team. Danny Metzger is an anchor of the midfield, but we have, Subasa Endo, who's a very good player. He emerged last year. People saw him in the College Cup as a player to be reckoned with. Mael Corboz is a terrific transfer coming from Rutgers. Alex Shinsky is in very good form right now, and then we have 3 or 4 guys that can interchange there that are good players. So I feel good about our squad. They've worked extremely hard. They're highly motivated from last year's coming up slightly short. And I think we have a good chance to compete for another national championship.
How about that midfield that you talked about? How crucial will that be in the creation of goals? And maybe you don't have the guy like Mullins up top scoring all of those. So the versatility and controlling the ball there, I'm assuming that's going to lead to a couple of different ways to score.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's going to be a key. Our midfield will have to be very good at providing good opportunities for our forwards. We're going to have some very good forwards. I think they're going to get on the end of stuff, but we might not be required for Patrick Mullins to score 15, 18 goals and manufacture something on his own. But we have some very good forwards. I think you'll see a few will emerge this year as pretty special players. But the midfield will be the key. And I think this is one of the better midfields we've had in years.
You guys take on Louisville coming up in just a couple of days. How weird is it to be taking on the Atlantic Coast Conference preseason favorites as a member of the Big Ten?
Yeah. You can't make this stuff up. but it's certainly it's an intriguing matchup. It certainly has to be one of the highlight games of the opening weekend. I think beyond a really well coached team by Kenny Lola and a perennial power, and obviously one of the favorites in the ACC this year, you have an $18 million beautiful soccer-only stadium being opened up this year, and we're delighted that we had the honor to open that up and play against a great Louisville team. So, but this goes with who we are at Maryland. We love playing against big teams on big stages. And we're looking forward to a great game and a great atmosphere that night and a great kickoff to the college season.
Yep, sounds like it's going to be a great one there out in Louisville. And Coach, as always, thank you for being so generous with your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam. Take care.